Saira. At the last study circle, we are at a point in the Sandeha Nivarini where Swami is being asked by the devotee to know who I am. And then Swami goes on to say that he is busy with many things and time may not be sufficient, but he says he's going to teach a poem, or the Swami calls it a Burra Katha, which is a story of song. And that's where we are. So we have already read a couple of verses from that Burra Katha, or the story, the song story which Swami is telling, where he is talking about how the body is born. So I will ask Sister Kalyani to continue from where we left off. Saira.
In its own dirt it wallowed day, without a sense of shame. It rose and fell at every step, acting daily a childish play. It runs and skips with gangs of chums and learns 100 tricks and trades. It grows so tall and thick and broad from year to year, very fast and fair. It moves in pairs and bills and coos in rosy rainbow style. It sings in tunes unheard before and quaffs the cup, unique and strange.
Thank you very much, Sister. So, Professor Kasturi has put this in, very poetic English. But the first paragraph talks about how a child, when it's born, it wallows in its own dirt without realizing that it is dirt. And it does not have any even a sense of shame which an adult or grown-up has. While it tries to walk, it falls and then it gets up. And every day is spent in childish games. Then Swami goes on to talk about a toddler or a young kid who, goes along with his companions and plays, spends his time in play. And he learns lots of tricks and trades. In the sense, he learns the way of life, I guess, even to earn a livelihood. Goes to school and learns various subjects and skills. And it also grows big and strong, tall, and it's able to do things very, very fast. I guess it feels proud about it. Then the third verse talks about the state where it finds a partner. It moves in pairs, builds and coos. It spends time in courtship and early married life. It finds everything as rosy. This world is rosy. And it's it sings in tune, so it's very happy about what it has achieved. And it's trying to enjoy life to its fullest as it understands. Those are the three sections Swami has talked about. And I will pause here if anyone would like to discuss any of them. I think it's okay. We can spend some time discussing any of these points before we proceed further. Saira. I think there are no questions. Sister Kalyani, you can read on, I guess. I think questions will come.
Tis Brahma who makes these dolls in pair, and dolls in millions. But this our puppet does not know. when it plays with dollies. Dim, dim, dim. This Maya doll, like the holy bull, has a thamist rope in its nostril hole. Lust and anger are the scorpion whips which whack the back of the slave. It gloats with glee when others stop before it shuddering low. It doles them pain, but cannot bear a microscopic share.
So there are three more verses of Swami. In the first verse, Swami is saying it's the Brahma who creates these pairs of dolls, and the dolls which multiply into many other dolls. That is fine, getting children. I think begetting children. But this puppet things, it's all because of itself that the children are born, and it forgets that the Brahma is the one who is creating, and it plays with the dollies. It plays with all these puppets which God Brahma has created. And Swami uses the word dim, dim, dim. In Telugu, Swami uses the word tandavam, because what things this dolly, this puppet, thinks that it is doing everything, and with frantic dance, it's performing in this world stage, where it thinks that it is controlling everything, including life and the creation of life itself. So that is the first verse. In the second verse, Swami uses the word Maya doll, like the holy bull. The holy bull is, I don't know, it's not a good translation, I guess, to the original word. Swami uses the word Gangireddu. Gangireddu is, it's just a small digression. In Andhra Pradesh, and even in some parts of Karnataka, I guess, the people who are begging, they dress up a cow with bells, and it's as if it's like a holy cow. It is dressed up, and this cow is taken by these beggars to each doorstep of a village, and they beg, and they make this bull dance. It will ask, they ask it to jump, it will jump, it will do antics, just like a trained monkey or anything like that. So that's called Gangireddu. And this bull is held by ropes. And Swami says the tamas is the rope. The ignorance is the rope by which this bull is controlled, and it jumps up and down. Though it's decorated, it is a fake bull. It is not even holy. It is being used by someone to make their own livelihood. And it is beaten if it does not behave by lust and anger. Kama and Krodha is what Swami says. And so, after all, this decorated bull, which is a fake one, is actually a slave of all these bad qualities of lust, anger, and ignorance. And that's what the second verse talks about. Then the third verse talks about it gloats with glee. So basically what it does is, if anyone is subservient, who is less weaker than this doll, it inflicts pain and troubles. But for itself, even if it's a hairbreadth of difficulty, it cannot take it. That's why Swami says a microscopic share. Even a little bit of what it inflicts on others, if it is dealt with, it cannot bear. That is the type of this puppet or doll. And that story of this doll, Swami says. So I will stop here, having gone through those three verses. And if there is any questions or any points, thoughts among all the participants, please feel free to share them, please. Saira.
Sairam, Brother No, I have a question here. On this paragraph 8, the verse, the Maya doll like the holy bull. So you were explaining as like a a bull, they decorate the bull and then take it to every doorstep to beg for food or something like that. So who is this Maya doll and who is taking the bull? Who is taking, so which is bull and who is the Maya doll? That's would you be able to help me on this understanding? Thank you, Sarah.
So, brother, right, from what the word says, Swami is equating this puppet to that bull, which is taken around. So the thing is, and what Swami says is this my understanding? Others, if you will see something different, please share. So the thing is, when this bull is taken around, there's a rope, and Swami equates that to ignorance, because this bull does not know what it is capable of, and there are whips falling on itself. So the person, Swami is not talking about the person who is taking around. Swami is saying the tamas is the rope and the whips are the lust and anger. So what it basically means is we are caught in this world, this Maya. That's why I think Maya, this world, where we don't know who we are. The ignorance makes us fall a victim to lust, anger, ignorance. And we dance without realizing who we really are. And I think that's what Swami is trying to drive here. Because the bull has to one day wake up and know what it is. The same way the puppet also has to realize that this body, which is the puppet, is behaving in a manner without knowing itself. So once ignorance comes in, then we are caught with the qualities which drag us down in this world, like lust, anger, and so on. That's what I understand, but others are welcome to share your thoughts, please.
Thank you.
Sairam. I think Sister Kalyani, maybe you can move on.
It swears and shouts and waves its arms and frets and fumes with blood-red eyes. It is indeed a wondrous sight, possessed by devil ire. It scans and spells, it scribbles and swots, it does not know the reason why. It runs in panic, trying to glean fodder for belly, willy or nilly. Ah, did you see this queer little dummy, with so many books in its tummy, turning and twisting in jealousy green when a learned doll encounters it?
Yes, I will again attempt to say it in some simple words, I guess. I think Swami is continuing on from the previous verse, where it cannot stand even a small bit of trouble of what it already deals to others. When it is dealt with something, it cannot take it, and then Swami goes, it swears and basically it gets caught in anger and fury, and it frets and fumes as if it is something, though it is nothing. Actually, it's just a puppet. So that's what Swami says. It's a wondrous sight. It is so funny that this puppet, which is incapable of anything, is fretting and fuming, and maybe with other puppets. And Swami says it is so ironical. And then Swami goes on to say, it scans and spells. So basically, it's writing a lot of things, it's speaking a lot of things. It does not even know the reason why it is doing, but it does. And but then it tries to use all that for earning a livelihood, and to earn a livelihood or whatever it thinks it has to earn, it takes to anything, any antique, or it does not stop willy-nilly, is what Swami says. It will resort to anything in this world without realizing that it is just a mere puppet. And the third verse is, Swami says, it learns a lot of things. It just learned a lot of, it has gathered a lot of information, And when it finds some other doll has more information, it's jealous. So it's not only, I think, knowledge, it's about anything in this world. Whenever somebody else has something more, there is jealousy. Every doll is trying to make sure that they are ahead of everyone else, but without realizing afterward they are a puppet. And the futility of our endeavors in this world to gather and to become superior, to compete, all these are being described by Swami in an ironical way in these 3 verses. Sai Ram. I will stop here. If anyone has anything to say, please share your thoughts, please. Okay, Sai Ram, Sister Kalyani, I think we will move on. I think maybe everyone sort of understands, because after all of our lives are like this. There's quite a bit of resemblance we will find in what Swami says. Sai Ram. Please go on. Sai Ram, sister.
And you should hear its secret cluck when a shameful sensual urge, a wicked lurking greed, is satisfied in sin. It proudly pats what? Its own back for beauty, brawn, vitality, while all the time and step by step it moves towards senility. It totters and blinks through wrinkles and folds, and when the children cry, old ape, it gapes and grins a toothless grins, its bones do clatter so.
So here Swami is talking about again 3 verses, and it says, whenever it desires something, it always feels that it can indulge in it, but it wants it to be secret because it does not want anyone else to know, I guess. And when it has been able to achieve from what it thinks it has achieved, it gives a secret cluck. It almost congratulates itself. Then the next word, Swami, so it sort of applauds itself, whether it has beauty, brawn, which is strength, or its looks, and vitality, its ability to do anything, and its energy it has. But as it does this, it is moving towards senility. It's growing older and older, and its faculties are failing. Then at the end, the last verse says, when it becomes an old one, everyone around calls it an ape. They don't want to put up with it. They make fun of it. They neglect it. And its teeth have fallen, and this toothless grin, it's still continues with what it's doing. So that is the lot of this doll. And those are Swami's words of how lamentable the state of this puppet. That's what Swami talks about. And those are what I understand. I will turn it over to others who may want to share something, please. Sai Ram. I guess no one is saying anything. So, Sister Kalyani, please, you can move on.
Unto the last it is lost in fear, wear and tear, and many a tearsome fray. Of what avail, O dummy doll, your gasp and groan? You needs must meet the doom. Aha, the bird, it shakes its wings, It flies out, burr, from out the cage of skin. Empty, it tightens. Vacant, it straightens. Oh, drag it out of sight, it bloats and stinks. The elements join their parents 5. The doll's desires are dust and ash. Why weep, you fools, when one of you falls on the crowded stage?
So again, Swami is talking about old age and death here in these 3 verses. He says the fears grip it so much until it dies, thinking that it is the one which is responsible for everything. And it's worn out. It can't function as a proper puppet even. And every small thing seems to be a big effort for it to do. But it has to meet its end. There's no way it can avoid it. Then the next second paragraph verse talks about, Swami says, the bird has flown away from the cage, which is the body. And once the bird flies away, the body, the puppet, the soul flies away, the Atma flies away. Everyone says, oh, it is dragged out of sight, it stings, it is bloating. You don't want to keep it, you want to get rid of it. And people who were fond of it do not want that dead corpse within, in their homes. That is the sight of this puppet. That is the lot of this puppet. And then Swami says the elements, the 5 elements, return back to their original state. And the 5 elements by which the body and mind are composed to go back to their original source. And the desires and the wishes with which the doll was jumping in glee and chasing everything in life have become dust and ash. It is absolutely of no value for the puppet. And then Swami addresses it to the other puppets, which are crying about a puppet which has fallen like this. And he says, why are you weeping? This is nothing strange. This is the way of the world. This is the way, the lot of every puppet in this world. So why the other puppets are weeping is the question which Swami asks. So those are my thoughts. In my words, I try to explain what I understood. I will open it up for anyone who would like to share your thoughts, comments, or if you have any questions, please. Saira. Sairam, Sister Kalyan, just move on then, please.
Sairam, brother, no, before she gets in there, I have a question here. On this 3rd paragraph again, the doll's desires are dust and ash. Swami putting this word here. The desire, can we equate this to as a karma, or just this desire becomes for the next birth or whatever it is, it's going to be there. Then how come Swami is saying here, the desire, the dolls of desire are dust and ash? Then what is that Swami meant to hear then? Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother. So I think I think the 2 things which we should differentiate. One is the karma is the act of accumulating anything. Our desires are but nothing but accumulation of stuff, material possessions, name, fame, anything we say is we are in the process of acquiring it. But we don't even pay attention to our actions, which are targeting that goal of achieving something in this world. So our desires are not the karma. Our desires are 4 things. So I think what Swami talks about is whatever you worked for with a certain desire, because if we, that is what karma is, you can say, but it has not become ash. What you went after has become ash. but the karma which you have accumulated, you have packed it and you have flown away with that. I think Swami may be talking about it in the next verses. Basically, when we, for example, if we want to acquire a house, the house will not come, it will become a dust and ash, because that's our desire was the house. However, how we went about doing that, we would have incurred a lot of karma that is flying away with us, with the bird. But we are not even bothered about that. If we were bothered about those karmas, we will not even indulge in this desire. So I think Swami is talking about the objects of desire here, rather than the karma attributable to the desire, is what I understand. Others can share what they think is, or what their thoughts are.
So, Sairam, that you can view differently also. The dolls, our desire is mainly about our body. So body and physical achievements, no? So the body is buried or cremated. When the body is buried, it becomes dust. When the body is cremated, it becomes ash. So the doll's desires here means the physical aspect. That way also we can look at it, because elements, the body, the 5 elements in the body disintegrate and join the original origin, the pure state of the element. And after all, the doll's desire, mainly of the body, what happened? It became either dust or ash. That's what my thinking. But everything is correct. But we can look at this way also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. There is a question on the chat box from Brother Sitaram. I think he himself can talk about it. Swami has compared Jiva with the bird. Any insights on that, please share. I think we should understand that maybe in the early part of the song itself, and the word, the poetry, Swami is addressing it to Jiva. Oh, Jiva is what Swami says. So all this is being addressed to the Jiva, the Jivatma, which is the bird which is flying away. But the Jivatma thinks that it is the puppet. So Swami is, and then it functions like the puppet. So Swami is actually addressing to the Jivatma, which is the bird which flew away. And it takes along with it whatever can come with it, which is nothing but its karmic burden and the vasanas. So that's what I understand, Brother Sitara. I hope if anyone else has something to add, please do.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
Sairam, Sister Kalyani, then you can read on.
Uncles, cousins, aunts, and friends march in gloom until door of room. The Maya doll, alas, forgot its kin, the divine name, Redeemer true. O Jiva, do not lean upon this slender reed, just a sneeze. This frail skinned boat, endowed with thrice 3 leaks, will plunge you middle stream. This puppet weeps, it sleeps and wakes, when the string is pulled by unseen hand. The Lord it is who stands behind, but the dummy swears it is I.
Thank you, Sister. So these 3 words, Swami sort of summarizing some of the thoughts, I guess. He says, whomever we think are relatives or friends, they can only come to the doorstep or the funeral home, I guess. And they cannot come beyond that. But Swami says this Maya doll, this puppet, had all along had forgotten its true kin, the true friend, the true relative, which is the name of God, which is the one which can redeem it. But it had forgotten it all along as the closest friend, the closest relative. Then the second verse, Swami is saying, O Jiva, again, as we said, he's addressing it to the Jivatma. Don't lean on this thing which is very flimsy, this body you are depending on so much and giving it so much importance. But it's so flimsy that a sneeze will put it down. It will drop dead, is what Swami says. It's a frail skin boat. Swami calls the body a skin boat. A boat actually is made of skin. Then he says thrice 3 leaks. The body is supposed to have 9 holes through which the Atma can escape. I think the question may be asked, so I will now itself say, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the nose, the mouth, the anus, and the urinary opening. And there's supposed to be a hole here, which actually gets closed at just before we are born, which is the Kapala. So those are the 9 holes through which the soul can apparently escape when we die. So that's what Swami is referring to here, because they are the leaks through which the soul can fly away, and midstream you will be dropping dead. Then the last one, Swami says, this puppet is weeping and it's sleeping, waking, and thinking that it is doing, I am doing this, I am doing that, without realizing that it's the God who is pulling the strings. So the irony of our human existence has been described by Swami in all these verses. I will stop here. If anyone has any thoughts, please share them. Saira.
Brother,
I have another question here. We think that is the dummy doll is thinking that it is I. Then what sort of a control the Atma has on this body then?
Sairam, brother. Okay, you have posed a question. I will not answer. There were a few others trying to say something or ask, so I will give them the opportunity, and anyone else also can attempt to answer Brother Arul's question. What is the Jivatma's role here? What type of control it has over the body is the question which is asked by Brother. Anyone else, please? There were a couple of others who were trying to speak. Please go ahead.
Because the question, because I had it because in Gita, so Krishna says he is only a witness, and then what sort of a control? Like how do they control it? Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Sairam, others were. Someone was trying to speak.
No, Sairam, I just wanted you to explain more of the third paragraph, third stanza, which Arul also has question, and I am not clear what Arul is asking, but my understanding, for understanding is that the ultimate controller is God, but we always egoistic, and everything is done by the help of God's grace. But I think I am doing, I did this and I did this one. So we don't understand our true reality, which is God, who is God. Yeah, I will stop with this, and others might clear, but I was Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to say something, please? Okay, so brother, I will attempt. It is my own limited knowledge and understanding, but I will share based on whatever I sort of gathered bits and pieces what Swami has said. The thing is, as we can say, Swami says, the Lord is the one who pulls the strings. So that means the Jivatma by itself does not have any role other than being a witness. But Krishna, who pulls the strings himself, is saying, I am the witness. When he says, I am the witness, I am just observing, because whatever the dummy has gone through is a natural process in this world. In this creation, in this earth, everything naturally goes through a cycle. Or it's born, it lives, it dies. If you look at a tree, it is born from a seed. It grows up, it distributes fruits, and one day it drops dead. So in this world, everything is a cycle. From dust you come, and then to dust you go. But the thing is, human beings, Jivatma, for some reason, get caught in this Maya and thinks that it can control. And it tries to control. And then it's frustrated because the strings are being pulled in different directions, though this Jivatma caught in this Maya is trying to do things which it really cannot do. So what is Jivatma's role is, I think Swami is going on to say the next paragraph. So our role is to recognize that this world functions the way the Lord has designed. We are here as just as witnesses. Just as in a movie theater, we sit and watch a movie. I think Swami has used the movie analogy earlier on in Sandeha Nivarini. We go to a cinema theater and sit and watch. If you don't want to watch, you close your eyes and think of the Lord. So you have two choices. You can just watch as if you are not involved. You have not written the script. You are not the person who is making things happen. You are just a witness. In this world, if we have that attitude, it's the Lord is controlling, I am just a witness, our state of mind will be completely different. We will not cry, we will not weep, we will not be affected as if those things have affected us. So I think that is the ignorance. So as soon as one is freed from that, the show goes on in this world. We ourselves, this body in which we inhabit, also will grow through its changes, and the bodies around us also will go through changes. But through all this, we can do things which we think will please the Lord. So whatever we engage in should not be for anything other than just pleasing the Lord, because the Lord is the one who is running the show. It's just like if you are an actor in a stage, you will always try to please the director. Whatever the other, if you want to be a good actor, you would always listen to what the director wants you to do, what will please the director. So the Jivatma's role in here is to be present in this show and dance and know very well that the director is behind. I'm not the director. The director is the Lord. I will do whatever may please the Lord, because the Lord, the director will give instructions. Do this, don't do this, just the way Swami has given us lots of instructions. So if we follow those directions, then we are pleasing the Lord, pleasing the director of the play. And I think that is the only thing for us to do, nothing else. Because we really cannot change the world, because everyone is trying to change the world. Swami says, that is not your problem. That is my problem. You just do what I have asked you to do. And I think that is the only duty for us. We really don't have control over this world or the boat or the puppet. We are there to please the director, the Lord. And that's what I understand. I may not be right, but that's up to you. And I think each of you, Swami, the Lord, who is the director, will tell you all. This is just for my understanding, my limited understanding. Sai Ram, everyone. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts? Please go ahead.
Sai Ram.
Sorry, Sister Anandi, just to interrupt you. Sorry. The thing is, so our role is here. God has given us some sort of a responsibility as a husband, as a father, as a teacher, whatever the profession they have it. They have to play their role, correct? Would I be? So that's the play that the role has been assigned to us in our lifetime, wherever situations we are in, and we should handle it to the best of our effort. Is that, am I assuming it correctly? Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, brother, because I think the problem for all of us is, so for example, if I am the father, or I am the husband, or I am the son even, if we start listening to the other puppet and behave, then something is wrong. We should listen to the Lord who is the puppeteer. I think sometimes in the name of responsibility, we start listening to the puppets around, and we get attached to the puppets. And I think that is the temptation, or that's a trap which we all fall into. So we should, for even if we are discharging a duty in our role as a father, son, brother, husband, or wife, we should always take into consideration only the instructions of the director, not the demands of the people around. That's my understanding, but I may be wrong. I hope it answers your question based on what my understanding is. Sairam, Sister Ananthi.
The Sairam, when I look at these three stanzas, I agree that we, the Maya doll, forget our kin, the divine Paramatma. But what is the role of the Paramatma if it doesn't help us? The helping is different from the witnessing. If Paramatma just to be witnessing, when I look at this, I also agree with Brother Arul's question that if the Paramatma just witnessing only, then what is the role of the Paramatma if it doesn't help us? And because as a Jiva or the Maya doll, we don't know the real true thing. The Paramatma should help us. If it's just witnessing, just to look at what we are doing, then something is missing there, in our interpretation, or something is missing. If the role of the Paramatma is just to witnessing only, something is missing. I understand Brother Aruno's explanation and everything. Some kind of, maybe the link or some kind of transition is missing here if just Paramatma, just observe or just witnessing only. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, Sister. I will again open it up for the participants. Sister has asked a very valid question. What is the fun of just being witnessing? The Lord has to help. So I will open it up for others to comment on this, please. Anyone can share your thoughts.
Sairam, Paramatma has given that instruction, and as we have to follow the instruction, go on doing things. If we needed help from Paramatma, we can request to the Paramatma. For sure, he will help us. We had to request for the help. That's on our prayers. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Sairam, it is trying to teach the Saranagati, surrender aspect of a devotee. So, whatever we think does not happen, what all we think do not happen. So, some unseen forces, it could be karma, and God is the who is using our karma to give the effect. But whatever it is, that without his grace, without love to him, without dedication, and if I just forget him and try to do as I want, that breaching the dharmic laws and everything, then I must realize that it cannot, it will not happen. Actually, it is only with God's grace that I can function in this world, and ultimately, when I say I or Jiva is a shadow. Actually, it is an image. It is not true. It is not a true reality. So the true reality is our divine nature. So to be established in our divine nature, we have to know that actually we have to be in a submissive mode when we act in the world. So actually Baba again and again said, you are the God, but you don't understand that you are in ignorance, and you forgot your true reality, and in that ignorance you trying to achieve things that it will not work. So wake up, go get up from your sleep of ignorance and know your true reality, which is I and you are one. Something like that. Sorry, Sairam, if I'm not clear, sorry for it. Sairam.
Sairam, brother.
Sairam, brother. I just wanted to say something in regards to the witness side. When you do things, you have to do your duty as a parent or father, as a son or mother. You have to do your duty. In that duty, you don't look at for fruit of action. Like when you're doing, you do it as a duty, don't expect any result. And that's the part becoming as a witness. This is my understanding. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? Sairam, sister, and I will attempt to give an answer based on my understanding. So the thing is, why God is witness as far as the world is concerned is that He has set up the rules and the laws which govern it, which take care of itself. So whatever happens in this world is because of the natural laws which are already in place, which is part of creation. And Swami will say those laws themselves are He Himself. So whatever happens in this world, for example, this puppet was born, it grows, it dies, it again is born, it grows, it dies in this puppet. That is all governed by these natural laws. So there is no real reason for the law to interfere. But then you can ask, why did the Lord take an avatar? So why He comes as an avatar is to help the Jivatma realize who it is. Because the Jivatma gets caught in all these worldly happenings and it's trying to fix it. It's trying to do something and it's frustrated. Then the Lord says, look here, your role is just to be a witness and do what you have to do based on the role which has been given to you, without being attached. Without being attached, thinking that you are the body, thinking that all this belongs to you, this body. That is the problem which every Jivatma suffers from. And that is the help which God is trying to give. So that he has been telling, for example, Swami came, for 8 years, he talked about the same thing. But every devotee who goes there, they go, Swami, this problem, please solve it. This problem is of the world. Sometimes he happens to help, sometimes he doesn't happen to help, because he does only what will improve your understanding that you are divine. That's all he's trying to do. We have to do two things. This world is not of any substance. It is not worth spending your time. Number one, he's trying to teach. The second thing he's trying to teach is you are a spark of my own self. You are a divine spark. Realize that. And your real link is myself. And the connection is only through my name. Don't think you are doing something in this world. So this is the only help he is providing, and he has been providing time and again Age after age, God is continuing to do this. He sends people who are divine people to all parts of the world, and people are guided only to know, cultivate divine qualities, which is the reality. Don't worry about the world. The world will take care of itself. As Jesus says in Bible, even that let the dead, the dead bury the dead. People who are dead, the only will bury the other dead, because what is burying and what is not being buried is all related to the world. You are not of that. You are just a temporarily present here, temporarily present, just to witness the world. So don't get unnecessarily troubled by the world. So the help God gives is to know, make us realize who we are, which Brother Sivadas was telling nicely, that we are divine. But what is our role? Within the role, always remembering that God is the doer. You do what is within your ability and skills. Don't worry about the results, because the results are beyond you, because it's the karmic laws and the natural laws take care of that. So even God doesn't interfere. That's why he's a witness. He has created the world with its laws and rules. It will all take care of itself. He doesn't have to tamper with it. He is just there to help the Jivatma go through without being perturbed and come back to himself and become one with him. I think that is the help. That's the help Swami came to do. That's why people say he's not removing hunger in this world. He is not removing, because the hunger is needed. Sometimes suffering is needed, because that is the only way. So, the suffering is only imagined, Swami would say, because what the world is going through is the natural law. But you are suffering because you think that you are the body. And Swami has come to clear that, is but my understanding. And that's why even when avatars come, everything doesn't change overnight in the physical world. My understanding may be faulty, but I thought I would share it. Anyone else would like to add, share your thoughts, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, brother. No, it's a very nice and valid explanation. Thank you, Saira.
Sai Ram, Sister Kalyan, maybe you can read on, I think, a couple of more verses.
Dharma, karma are the hardy strings. He tightens or he loosens. Unaware, the puppet swaggers crisscross on the planks. It takes the world as stable, the silly strutting dummy. A twinkle, he winds up the show, exit the pomp and pride. O Jiva, you have waded through ant and snake and bird. Seek and find without delay the road to lasting bliss.
Thank you very much, sister. So Swami is actually going on to explain. Swami says dharma and karma, which dharma is the law, karma is the action and the results, the cycle. They are the hardest strings. They are the ones who are basically making this world, the puppet show, go on. And he just tightens and loosens as according to dharma and karma. But the puppet doesn't know. It is it's dancing to those karma and dharma, but it doesn't really understand why. That's the first verse. The second verse, Swami says, this foolish puppet thinks this world is real. It is going to last forever. But it is in the hands of God, and he can snap his fingers and the world will disappear. He doesn't realize that. Even though we have a divine spark, we are not, one thing is to know, when we think we are God, we are a part of that God. Is, I think we should understand. We are a fraction, we are a spark of the divinity, which is nothing but goodness. And I think that's what Swami talks about in the second verse. The third verse, he says, you have become, basically you have lived as every single created being in this world. You have been an ant, you have been a snake, you have been a bird, and now you have become a human being. Don't delay any further. Realize who you are. is the call from Swami to all of us. Don't think that we are even this body. We are the divine Atman, a spark of the divine Atman. Swami wants us to realize. That's what he says. That is the road to lasting bliss. Once we attain that, we are not touched by this world with which we identify. We identify with the Lord. Swami says that is an everlasting blissful state. Pine for that, work for that. Don't waste any more time. Is the call from Swami. Sai Ram. I will let anyone else share your thoughts.
Ram, so the first stanza and the stanza number 22, it tries to say that the strings with which we are pulled is dharma and karma. So the God as a witness, his laws, dharma and karma, are controlling us. That's why we are unable to achieve whatever that we want. But the jiva, who is in ignorance, does not understand that we are controlled by dharma and karma, and we are taking the world is real, and so in an instant that the God can take the body away, and our pomp and pride will vanish. It has to exit. So you have taken all these births from plants to human. You are going on and then you are in the endless cycle of birth and death. If you are wise enough, seek and find without delay the road to lasting bliss. So Bhagavan is trying to tell the impermanency, the evanescence nature of this world, body and everything, and trying to advise us to get eternal peace and bliss. You have to find the correct path which he has been showing us. Thank you, Saira. This is my just understanding. Thank you.
Sai Ram, brother. Thank you.
Sai Ram, in the first stanza here, the stanza number 22, dharma, karma, the hardest strings he tightens or he loosens. When the divine loosens the dharma and karma, the hardest strings, I know when the divine tightens, we always, in our perception, we think we are suffering with so many things. What would be the examples that divine loosens the hardest strings? Any examples to understand or imagine what would be the activities the divine loosens the hardest strings?
Okay, Sister Sai Ram. Anyone else would like to comment or share your thoughts, please? Sister's question. She would like to understand what is tightening of the rope and what is loosening of the rope.
It is so inextricably twinkled, mixed up, that it is not very easy to find out what is loosening and what is tightening. But as in service level thinking, so when the karma is controlling and we are tightened. When dharma is working and we are loosened. We are allowed to do dharmic activities, and if it is karma type, then we may be tightened. So, but my first answer is that both are intertwined, and we cannot say which is working and which is not working. But what Baba is trying to say is that these are the two forces that pulls that controls our activity in the world. Thank you, Sai.
Sairam sister. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
Saira. Yeah.
So,
Sairam, can
Sairam
can-
sister.
what I think is tightening and loosening of the rope is the hardships. Basically, what comes our way, right? Like that's the only way we are going to learn and evolve. Say, for example, everything in our life is testing. So unless you pass that test, the same quiz or test is going to come to us in different way or form. So that's the only way we will learn and evolve. Like, I think that's what tightening and releasing of the ropes, right? Because when we are suffering, when we are put to test, there is some awakening that happens in our brain, and there is learning that will come out of it. And the other thing is also the tightening and the loosening of the rope will be different for each person based on where they are at, right? For some people, the tightening is like, waking up at the time that they want to. They might be just struggling to set an alarm and wake up, etc. When for others, it's doing a lot of service and not having the time, or whatever you call it, someone giving a hard time. How are we actually going to overcome it? So each person will have to learn it on their own, based on their understanding, based on their spiritual growth. And unless Swami puts us through this test, how else are we going to evolve, and how else we are going to learn, right? Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Brother Dasan, you can speak up, please.
Sairam, brother. Here, the strings, I think they are talking about mind. The mind is the important here. That is, the mind is the one is giving hard time for our senses. So who he has understand the mind, the string, he can control very well on the senses. They can achieve the goal without any problems. This is my understanding, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Sairam, anyone else would like to say?
Sairam, yeah, the previous one of the study circle I heard, Swami, how one of the example I'm going to say, the devotee was waiting for Swami's prayer, blessing for her very, sick, her own child, but she's waiting. Swami doesn't look at her, but he look at everyone, but she doesn't look at. Because she was praying and crying. When he passed the way, then she was crying harder, and Swami heard and come back, and he says, I pass from you, then that is your karma, was your own here. But then Swami come and bless the child and tell, I bless you with, the Swami has karuna. And I think everyone has the thing like a two string, but with God grace, we can reduce whatever we do with the Swami's teaching. We can do without worrying, surrender to God. But the time comes, Swami will help us to, go through this. I think, yeah, Swami always help us. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister, thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? So I will attempt, Sister Anti. Others have given some very nice explanation, but Maybe I will add two more points, two other views, I would say. The tightening, to some extent, you know, the way I understand tightening is, for example, if a cow is tied with a rope, our karma, or, you know, prarabdham is a rope, which Swami says always. So what happens is, if you're a cow, if you're tied to a post, when the cow goes far away from the post, the rope tightens. Then when the cow starts moving towards the post to which it is tied, the rope is loose. So you have some freedom within that. So that is one aspect. So whenever you go far, it can tighten from the post. So if you say the real post to which we all tied is God, the farther we go away, things get tighter. The closer we come, things are loose. I think that's one thought which I have. The second thing is, in this world, actually, even if you look at a puppet show, for a puppet to move, the puppeteer would be loosening one thread and tightening the other one. Only then the movements of the puppet take place in a proper manner. So for every action, there's a tightening and loosening at the same time. They are two sides of the same coin, as Swami would say. For example, even if I want to fold my hand, there's one muscle which is tightening, the other set of muscles is loosening. So there are a set of muscles tightening and a set of muscles loosening. I think it's if all of us know. So for anything in this world to function, there are some things being tightened, some things which are being loosened simultaneously, even if we don't realize. So the thing is, we may interpret it differently based on our understanding, but the reality is these robes make us function in this world in certain different ways. For example, dharma may say this is the way you should function, but the karma will have another pull. Sometimes the karma wins, sometimes the dharma wins. That's our role in this life. But we are all caught between these two, between the karma and the dharma. In doing anything, everywhere you have a choice of dharma and karma, and each one will be pulling one side. And sometimes one pulls too much, the other will loosen. So I think that is our lot. But it's always good to understand the tightening and loosening is done in such a way by the Lord so that you will go closer and closer to Him. Sometimes He may tighten it as you come close also, because He wants you to be one with Him. He will pull you. So, and the rope is so small, and you may say, why are you tightening? Why are you tightening? But when He tightens, He is actually dragging you towards Him, is what I would like to believe. That thought gives us all the hope in this life, that all suffering is the Lord's way of pulling us closer to Him. And those are my thoughts. I hope even if that is wrong, as long as it keeps us happy and think of God all the time, I think that helps. Sai Ram, sister.
Thank you, Sai Ram. I also thought dharma and karma are always in the opposite directions. If we obey the laws of nature, if we live with dharmic rules or dharmic laws, then karma always it would be reduced, or it would be reduced. So that's why I have little confused by Brother Aruno's the explanations, or the other sisters and brothers also. Now I am clear that when one it tightens, other it would be loosened. It would go in the opposite direction. Here, the dharma and karma. When the laws of dharma wins, the karma it would be reduced, or it's a very nice explanation. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, sister. Sister Kalyani, maybe you can read on. I think there may be two or three more.
And just a clarification on that point. So is dharma and karma always opposite, or can you also have karma that is that supports you to do dharmic actions?
So, as a doctor, I think you should understand how the limbs work. But yes, I think that the whole idea is to align the karma with dharma. So, we are not caught, we are not pulled this way, that way. I think that's the best way to live in this world. It's a state of balance where the karma and dharma are aligned. They may move in opposite directions, but I think by aligning the karma with dharma, we will not have any suffering. Is what I understand, sister. For example, if one muscle is pulling the one way, if the other muscle does not cooperate, we will be in pain. But if one muscle shrinks and the other one loosens accordingly, then our limbs will work in the best way possible. If the muscles do not cooperate or they are not aligned with the same intent, our body will go into spasms and we cannot function in this world, which is the way our life is. Our life suffering is a spasm because we are not aligned with dharma and our karmas are not aligned with dharma. When our dharmas and karma align, even though their direction may be opposite, but they should be aligned, I think. When they align, there's a balance, there's harmony, and I think that's a divinity which Swami wants us all to experience. I hope that answers you. That's my understanding, but take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I can say. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you, thank you. Bless your luck. You now can see Sai Krishna. He has come. Be kin with him and you will know your what and why and how. A million words so clever and nice, can they appease your hunger's maw? Light the lamp of the soul instead, and freed from bondage, run out and play. This song that tells of dummy doll makes Jiva sad and wise. I know, but Jiva, see the Leela grand of the Sathya Sai Nath, and know thyself.
Sai Ram, sister. Wonderful, wonderful stanzas. Swami says, bless your luck. You can now see Sai Krishna, he has come. Be kith with him, be kin with him. So adopt him as you are the closest member of your existence, the best relative, the best friend. And everything, your what, why, and how. You should learn from him the how of doing things, why you are doing things, and what you have to do. All this learn from this Sai Krishna. He has come to help. That is your luck, Swami says to the devotee. Swami says, there are a million words of explanation of, this and that, what is right, what is wrong, what has to be done. Swami says that will never appease the real hunger of the soul. The hunger of the soul is to get what is divine. It can never, adequately satisfy that hunger. Swami says, instead, light the lamp of love in your heart, and then be freed from bondage. Then he says, you run out and play carefree in this world. You are not bothered by anymore about anything in this life. Every situation, every challenge is a game. Play it, as Swami would say. So that's the way we should go out and run in this world and play without being slaves of anything, because the Sai Krishna has come. And he says, when you're sad, you become wise. How sadness from sufferings makes us become wise. And look at this Leela of the Lord in this world and enjoy it. And through that process, know who you really are, is what Swami says. Actually, if you can imagine, when Swami started out saying, I will not tell who you are. Today, I will tell you a story that will give you enough vairagya, detachment from this world. So what Swami has spent time is to tell us who we are not in all these verses, and say, don't get caught in this maya of thinking that you are the body and all these things in this world are real, and just become bonded or become a slave to this world and of senses and joy and sorrows. Instead, you take the Lord as your kin, who will never die, who will always be with you. So you will always be happy and always will be joyous. I think that's what Swami is telling us. That's my understanding. I will ask anyone else to share your thoughts, please. Saira.
Sairam, this story was telling some sad things above. For example, when the person is old, senile, and the young people are calling him old ape. So many things. Not only that, in everywhere we see that bad aspect of human life. So Baba is saying this song makes Jiva sad. While making sad, it makes the person open his eyes and makes him wise as well. So and also in the second 26 stanza, saying any number of speeches and discourses will not help us to be freed from these two strings that pulls us. So only by lighting the lamp in the heart, then the pulls are broken and we are freed from bondage, and we could run and play in our true nature. That's something I just wanted to share with you. Thank you, Sai.
Thank you very much, Brother Saira.
For Sairam, brother, I know the time is going to be end. According to this 27 paragraphs, what I learned, the world is illusion. That we are puppet, but God is the wire puller. He knows what we are doing. Even if we are 7 seas away, He knows what we are doing, everything. So do your part according to that one. So look at the parrot. It's in the cage. Once he out, then its parrot will realize the reality. Same thing in the Atma too. When he released from the body, it knows the work. So God has created so many creatures, but finally He created the man. The common thing is food, sleep, and fear, and sexuality. But the man has the one thing, acquire knowledge. With the acquire knowledge, he can see the God vision or self-realization. So, we came to this world with a passport. We know the date of birth, but we don't know the expiry date. Within that, we do all kinds of things. We know this body is subject to decay and death. So, end of the day, the education or the whatever wealth we gain is not going to help us. God will going to ask how much love you share with other people. So you have to live with Dharma. Dharma is the only one. It can give you happiness in your life. The money or education, never if you are kids, please teach the Dharma. Education we need it, money we need it. Dharma is the very important to live their life very happily. So the main role is love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. Deity is God. The puppet can acquire knowledge and attain God vision and or self-realization. But what you have to do with simple sadhana, namaswaranam, will take you to the God vision. So end of the day, nobody's going to come with you. Wife or children, nobody. Or whatever you gain, anything. So whatever good deeds, whatever you have done, good dharma is going to lead you. So we can ask you, only thing you can pray, Baba, like, dear Lord, we ask for your grace. Let us open our heart. Let us come to know who we are without discrimination. Let us share our love and light that we are one. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Sai Ram, we study here like the two stream, dharma and karma. when the Titan, we always think, so you told before you explained, we are going closer to the God. Where when we suffer, when we tighten, we think we are suffering and everything. The Kunti Devi's explanations, he was asking Krishna all the time, tighten the rope. Then the God, when we pray the God, he won't like a painkiller or the needle. Swami's grace, he will give us the, the pain to, we shouldn't, the help us to reduce the pain. That is the only thing. I think we shouldn't think all the time suffering is bad. That's what my feelings. Like when we tighten the rope, then you explain already, we are going closer to the God. Then when with the grace, he will help us to reduce the pain, and we won't feel the pain like Tirunavakara sir. Even though he put it in that bad room, but he feel the bliss. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Sister Saira. So it's about 10:20, I think.
Sairam, it's not a question, but it's a compliment. It's a really lovely study circle today, and all have put together. It's a really nice explanation about this Swami's lovely poem. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister.
Arno, this is Ram from Ottawa. I really enjoyed it. Wonderful, down-to-earth explanations. Thanks for extending the invite to people outside Toronto.
Sairam Ram, Sairam. So we will close the study circle with Samasta Loka and Shanti Shanti, and we'll continue next week. Sairam. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Sai Ram.